Despite the legendary brand of the Boston Celtics, last 35 years, one title. That's it. Beat the banged-up Lakers in 2008. They hadn't even been there one time in 12 years. That's it. The Lakers, meanwhile, are a bit of a mess, right? Easy to roll your eyes as a Celtic fan. But in that same time span of 35 years, they have 8 titles. 2 biggest brands, which would you rather be today? I'd be the Lakers. I mean, yes, the Celtics have been consistent. So is yogurt and wheat thins. The Lakers are up and down, but yeah, the Lakers pivot often and pivot regularly and win regularly. Yes, you've been consistent. 8 straight years. Ooh, in the East, the Pac-12 of college football. Congratulations. Who cares? None of that matters for Boston. The Lakers and the Celtics are the biggest brands in the sport. 35 years. Boston's become the reliable 401k. You put money away, you'll never get rich, but you'll be safe and content. You'll be able to retire and have a steak twice a week. Congratulations. I've seen that multiple times. It's quite a life. But for big brands, you got to do better. Yeah, the Patriots were consistent too in Boston, and they got 6 rings. I've seen the Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart thing. It's adorable. But let Memphis celebrate consistency. You beat Milwaukee without Chris Middleton at home in the East in the second round. And as much as I admire Giannis and the Bucks, in the last 6 years, 4 of them, they've been eliminated in the first or second round. Congratulations for becoming the NBA's 401k. But the Lakers in that same time span have sold 8 companies and gotten the bag 8 times. I'll take that. Because the Lakers aren't as patient. They pivot off coaches. They pivot off stars. They pivot off contracts. They take big swings. Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. Show me the money. This is the second biggest brand. And in the early parts of the NBA, the biggest brand, there was no number 2. You lose to Miami. What are you? What have you done? Brad Stevens moved upstairs. He got so frustrated. So as you beat Milwaukee yesterday, I thought, oh, that's okay. At home, second round in the East, no Chris Middleton. That would be a huge moment for Memphis. Maybe even a gigantic moment for Dallas. It's not a big moment for Boston. You have a very good defense, but if Tatum's not hitting, you're very limited offensively. Do better, do more. 35 years, 1 title, a banged-up Lakers team. The Lakers may be a mess now, but in 35 years, but every 4.5 years, they bring home the bag. That's what the Patriots did. Consistency, I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in consistency. Alabama's consistent and wins. New England's consistent and wins. Serena, Federer were consistent and win. Consistency matters if I get some at the end of it. San Antonio was consistent for 15 years. I got 4 or 5 titles out of it. I got nothing to show for it. Oh, we beat Milwaukee. Probably not if they had Chris Middleton. We played our starters the last game of the season. That's probably why you won. I mean, Grayson Allen shouldn't have been on the floor. He was terrified. Bobby Portis is a liability. Hell, you better win. You better win big. But I think y'all realize in Boston, the Patriots set the standard. Don't be wheat thins. Be gold bars. More titles. Then we'll talk. Let's talk about Phoenix. Well, the basketball gods are a cruel bunch, and they have rendered their decision on Chris Paul. You will not be winning any titles. I know it's painful. I like Chris Paul. It's not Charles Barkley didn't win a title. Dan Marino didn't win a title. Chris Paul's not going to win a title. The basketball gods have rendered a decision. So what do the Suns do? Bring it back. Really? I know, 64 wins. Got to the playoffs. Terrible for a decade. It feels good to win those regular season games. But the great thing about losing to great teams and losing to great players. And the Mavericks are not a great team, but Luka's a great player. There is an advantage to this. Great creates clarity. You watch American Idol in its prime, and you'd see the Underwood or like one of the great singers. Like every year they'd have a great singer. And it just created clarity. You're like, oh, she's great. He's really not that great. He's terrible. It creates clarity. Great creates clarity. If you're in Silicon Valley, Apple, oh, our stuff's good. It's not the iPhone good. Luka showed you the truth. Devin Booker is a 2. A good 2, but a 2. Mikal Bridges, quite a ceiling. DeAndre Ayton, not much use when you trail late and need threes. And Chris Paul's 37. He's old. Phoenix needs to take a huge swing. And they should thank Luka for that. Because he is so great, so capable of getting his own shot every time down the floor, so capable of elevating others, so inspired, so unintimidated by anything. He showed you the way. He showed you that Booker's a 2. If I'm Phoenix, I let DeAndre Ayton walk. I get another elite scorer. That's where I spend my money. Hopefully Booker is a great 2 for years to come in the Valley of the Sun. But I'd probably limit Chris Paul's minutes. And by the way, I love Chris Paul. But there are certain industries in America where people do not age fast. Accountants. I mean, you could have an accountant for 60 years. Radio hosts. People do it for a long time. Attorneys, tax attorneys. I've been doing it. My firm's been since the 60s. And then there's professions where people age really fast, like overnight. Pro sports. Peyton Manning, MVP, to benched for Brock Osweiler. James Harden, overnight. The hell is that? Chris Paul, 37, last 4 games of this series. These are pro athletes. They're the world's best athletes in the NBA. Your weaknesses, they happen fast. That tax attorney, have another donut for breakfast. You'll never be able to tell. Chris Paul couldn't stay in front of anybody. And it's time. It's time to find the next Chris Paul. He's not going anywhere. But Devin Booker was not a serious MVP candidate despite being the best player on the best team. But I think Luka, as infuriating and defeating and discouraging as it is today, Luka did you a huge favor. Luka showed you the truth. 33 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists a game, shooting nearly 50%. Devin Booker scored 23 at 43% and struggled, never elevated others, struggled to consistently get a good shot. Yes, I know today in Phoenix it's a bad day, but sometimes, my wife says this all the time, you can be a great example for your kids or a horrible warning. Your kids can learn from both. You can learn as a pro basketball player or executive or coach or a team from a debilitating loss or a great win. They're both teaching tools. Luka showed you the truth. Booker's a 2. Hell of a 2, good 2. Love to have him for the next 10 years. Chris Paul's limited. He's 37. He got old fast. So did Harden in the East, like overnight. Came out of the bed, woke up, you're like, oh, he's a step slow. Can't get past anybody, and Chris can't stay in front of anybody. Chris Paul's going to be back. Use his guidance, his mettle, his toughness, his intelligence, his moxie. But take a big swing, because Dallas isn't getting worse. Luka's just now moving into his prime. Oh, he's going to be no fun to play for a decade. This isn't the best Luka. He came into the season out of shape. This is like LeBron, year 4 in Cleveland. Was it 4 or 5? He got to this championship with the Spurs, and the Spurs vanquished him in 4 games. Everybody's like, yeah, LeBron's not clutch. 12 years later, he made his 8th straight final. That's what you're looking at. Luka is the truth. Good coach. Great city. Great culture. Some depth. Let Ayton walk. Go get another score. Get a little younger at point. But there are a lot of different ways to learn your future. And that was one of them. It was ugly. It was, got to be honest, I I didn't see that one coming, trailing by 40 at home, but you can still learn from it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.